Hide in the Light. Okay, so this song was the second song I recorded after Smoke of Our Fathers, and it we're talking extreme simplicity. I was in the zone of like, let's just do guitars, drums, bass, vocals. Let's get her going. Let's go. Let's go. And that's this song was the epitome of that. I think this is probably the most straightforward in terms of like production level on the whole record. And then as I went on, it got more complex and added more stuff. But this one's pretty straightforward. This probably won't be a very long video because it's pretty straightforward. Show Reaper. What's going on there? Is the mic not in the right spot or something? What is up with that? What is up with that, bro? Okay. So here we go. We got Reaper here. Now, if I were to do this, do we have Zoom? Okay, we got Zoom. Excellent. Okay. So, I had this here, but we can get rid of that now. It's just my wireless mic, so I can talk to you, but I have it running in another session. It's running in this session. And if you play back and you go to another tab in Reaper, that other session will keep going. Sometimes that's bad because I'll be playing a song and I won't realize it. And it'll be the song's ended and it keeps playing. And then I go to another tab. And then since it's processing that other song while I'm in this song, it like starts crackling and performance goes down. And I'm like, what's wrong? I thought I had a good computer. Okay. So I was using the template from Smoke of Our Fathers. I had set up like a basic template at the beginning of the process. I spent a couple days, if you've watched the other video, about how I wanted to do this record because it had been a minute since I recorded, so I wanted to get her rolling. And so the drums are just the same as in Smoke of Our Fathers. I basically created a single drum track that fed into 3 kits, and then am I in one? Am I in one? There we go. I created a single MIDI track that went into 3 kits, and then after I had written the basic drums, I broke them out. So I broke it out to the cymbals and the toms and the snares and the kicks. And then, so if you just solo the drums here, why isn't it playing? There we go. Yeah. The tom's going on here. So again, those are 3 different kits that are being layered together. We've got the Superior kit, Superior Drummer, and what are the drums here? I think it's the Aussie kit, and then I probably messed with some stuff. I messed with some of the toms and everything when I was setting that up. Same thing, Studio Drummer. Where's the kit? There's the kit. I love Studio Drummer. Fantastic drum kit, beautifully sampled. And this is a garage kit. It's kind of dirtier, and it just added a little bit of like, I think it added like a little bit of like a roominess to the whole situation. And so those 3 kits are layered together to create the drum sound we have on this entire record, pretty much. Cool. That's the drums. Just like the other one, once I had the template, I pretty much used that for the rest of the record. Then we have a single bass track. And that is the Rockville Warwick rock bass. That's what it is. It's a Warwick. I've had that thing since. It's the bass I've used on everything, with the exception of the Thunderbird, the Thunderbird on Circles and a couple other things. But the vast majority of stuff's been recorded with the Warwick rock bass. Love that bass. It's a good bass. Had it since like 2000. I want to say like 2003, maybe something like that. I got it because I wanted to learn Muse bass parts from Showbiz. That's why I got the bass. Well, I wanted to record bass, but the first thing I did with that bass was learn Muse Showbiz bass lines. Down, 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 down. Okay, anyway, that's the bass. And just like in Smoke of Our Fathers, I'm sure a little bit changed with stuff. EQ here a little bit, but it's running through Guitar Rig 5. By the way, I just upgraded my Native Instruments stuff to the new Complete Ultimate. And so now I have Guitar Rig 6. So I'm looking forward to using that a bit. But this is Guitar Rig 5 Bass Pro. And I got the gain and the drive going up. I know, man, the coffee's in. Okay. And that's the bass. I mean, it's really straightforward. I don't know. I'm trying to talk about the stuff like it's some sort of complicated music production stuff. It's really, as far as this record goes, we want to be playing music. So we threw it through a bass amp. We hit record and let's go. So that's kind of mostly they come out at night mostly. That's how that went. Now the guitars in this, just two rhythm guitars, a left and a right. That's weird. My spacebar is almost like reacting late or something. So yeah, I haven't heard those guitars by themselves in a minute. So cool. And that's it. It's the rhythm guitar, and then of course there's that solo. Now it looks like here I added another layer of guitars. So those guitars also Guitar Rig 5. I love Guitar Rig 5 because it's simple and it sounds nice. It sounds nice and it has very low latency. I've tried other guitar stuff and there's some good stuff out there with low latency even, but the combination of ease of use, my familiarity with Native Instruments stuff in general, I love Native Instruments stuff. They make really good stuff. And the low latency is huge. And so I've tried tons of stuff, but I always kind of just fall back into Guitar Rig. That's why I'm so excited to try Guitar Rig 6, because I'm sure it's awesome as well. I'm sure it's even more awesomer. But that's just the jump amp. Now, when we add in the solo guitar or the lead or whatever, the layered guitar after that, is it the same thing? It's the same amp. You can rewind and see the settings. I mean, maybe the settings are a little different. Maybe I have a little bit different settings. Probably not, though. Let's see what this one sounds like. Yeah, I probably didn't change it. Very simple. And that's something that I learned just like working in studios for years and seeing how records were produced. It's kind of my go-to thing is just like, if you're halfway through a pattern and the pattern's repeating, just add an element. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just add an element. Add something new. Add something that the brain can register as, oh, a new thing's happening. And it doesn't have to overtake anything or it doesn't have to try to steal attention. Just put it in there. It's like, oh, something else is happening. And then it kind of twists your brain a little bit. So even though the pattern's sort of repeating, you're feeling a little bit of newness. And then, of course, we have the solo. Oh boy. So my solos are a little different. So we have the regular amp and then we compress it. Who knows why? Probably I just wanted to make it louder. Look at how much I'm gaining. I'm gaining at 25 dB. Yeah, I just probably wanted to make it louder. Now here's my signature, the Scene of Action signature sound. My signature sound is the lo-fi. I like to use lo-fi to really make my guitar tones sound horrid. So if I turn it off, okay, that's a guitar. It's a guitar, you know? If you turn on lo-fi, I've just loved that. I've always loved it. I don't know why. I love destruction of the guitar tone. I think it's because of Matt Bellamy's Fuzz Factory that he uses it's built into his guitars. Like he uses it for the song Plug In Baby. and lots of other things too. But I've just always loved that. I think that's what the Fuzz Factory is. It's basically like a lo-fi machine, and I've just loved it. I love it. I've always loved it. I love it. It's awesome. And then of course we delay that because I like that like Brian May Queen solo sound of being like kind of in a room. And that's what this does. It's a very short delay. It's 49 milliseconds and 78 milliseconds. And you want to make sure it's 48 and you want to make sure it's 49.9 and 78.3. I found that no other delay works. You have to, I'm just joking. It's just, I turned the knob until it sounded okay to me at that particular moment. And then I left it, and it happened to be 49.9. But anyway, one's short, one's a little longer, but they're both really short. And so it gives it this kind of roomy sound. So if I take off, remember this, we're not using, I don't even remember what was up with that. Let's just cut this effect out of here because I'm not even using it. But so then we can turn these off. Okay, so timeless. So with just the lo-fi, nothing else. Okay, so that's just the guitar right there. Now when you add that timeless, that Brian May Queen short delay in the room kind of sound, this is what that sounds like. So it sounds like it's like in the room a little bit, and I've always liked that. And then I EQ it a little bit, throw some mids up there. Let's see what that EQ actually sounds like. Okay, with it engaged. I'm not even really noticing it. It was probably in mastering or mixing. I probably needed to do that to bring out the guitar in the mix a little bit, but by itself, I can't even really hear the difference. It's probably just because I'm deaf, though. Okay, and then I compress it again, because you always got to compress it again. And then, of course, another EQ, because you always got to EQ it again, too. When in doubt, just add another effects. I think this is from my trauma with Pro Tools. With Pro Tools, you can only have a certain amount of inputs. I think it's like 5 for effects, like effects inputs. And that was always traumatic for me because I like to use lots of effects and inputs. I don't like to just keep adjusting the ones already there. Like if I want to EQ something after it's already done, I'll just add an EQ. I want to add an EQ. I don't want to go back to another EQ that's already on the track and affected. I want to add a new EQ. And with Pro Tools, that was difficult because once you got past like 5 or whatever it was, you had to add a bus track, send that track into the bus track, and then on the bus track, you could add a new effect. Because, reasons. But with Reaper likes, Reaper's into liberty and freedom. And so you can just hit add in Reaper and you can just add an effect. I was going to say effects and effect, and I said effects or something. And you see this big old space here? Yeah, well, you could just add whatever you want, whenever you want, forever. So, yeah, there's that. So that's what I do. So when I want to add an EQ, I just add an EQ. I don't really think about it. That's why I have so many effects stacked. There's no real rhyme or reason except for the fact that I hear something and I'm like, this needs more high end. So I add an EQ and I put high end. I don't go back to like other effects. That's just, my thing. Again, from my trauma, everybody has their own personal trauma they have to deal with. That's how I deal with my trauma. I have the power to add effects now, so I just add effects. That's how we do it. Okay, so in the mix. And then the verse starts. Let's mute the vocal here. And we have this other guitar, which is on a different track. So I assume there's something else going on here. We also have a mute here. So it mutes at the end of this solo. It mutes. So I must have not wanted it to have any more sound after that. And then volume automation. These green lines are the volume automation. So I'm turning it up and down. And I guess right here, there's a note. Oh, yeah, the vreer. Let's see. Yeah, I needed that to be louder. Cool. And so that's this lead. What is this lead, by the way? Oh, yeah, the verse. Yeah. So it's just a single guitar in the verse. Interestingly enough, you've got the drums, no bass, and then the single guitar, and then the single vocal. And then we have another vocal coming in here. Let's hear what this verse sounds like.
It's so hard to talk to you, even knowing you were right. It's so hard to listen to, even knowing where you hide. Hey, this is what you want.
Yeah, so that's what that is. That's another guitar. It's that original. This is the intro solo, and then that same tone is used for the verse, and then it's also used here a little later, and then that's just vocals. So what's the vocal doing? By the way, it may sound a little different if you were A-Bing the record in this, because I've turned Soothe off. Because with Soothe, yeah, see, if you turn Soothe on, Soothe uses a lot of processing. Soothe is an amazing plugin, though. It what's the word? Oh, that's the word. It soothes your mix. It's really cool. It basically finds resonances that are like amplifying themselves, and then it brings those down. And it's nice. It's really nice. It's a very nice plugin. I highly recommend it. There's no really other way to explain it other than it really does soothe your mix. Like the more you turn it up, it like this harshness kind of just goes away because it's just all these little resonating frequencies. It just cuts them out. And then you get to a certain point and it's overkill. And it's always great when you can hear overkill, because then you know, okay, that's what it's doing. And if I turn it up too far, then you really hear what it's doing and it's cutting way too much out of your mix. But then you bring it back until it sounds nice, and then bring it way far back again to hear what your original horrid mix sounds like. And then you kind of bring it back in, you kind of listen to it, you go back and forth, too much, too little. And then you kind of find this spot where you're just like, okay, it's taking enough harshness out, but it's not taken away from the feeling of the mix I intended. It's just soothing. And that's that. But I had to turn it off for this demonstration because it takes too much processing. And if I turn it on, I'm going to have to up my latency. Then I won't be able to hear my voice. And then it sounds weird, and it gets weird, and everything's weird. And so I don't want to be weird. Let's not be weird. All right. Verse Vox. Okay, what's going on in the Vox? What are we doing in the Vox? A typical vocal track. We've got Simplon, which is basically just taking out some extreme low end so that my gate doesn't get triggered by hitting the desk or something like that. This is mostly for live stuff. This is almost like a live setup for my mixing or for my vocal mic, because typically in recording, you're going to be editing stuff and trimming stuff. So you don't even need to use the gate. But like I said, this record was very much full blast. Let's go. Let's get her done. And so I blasted through this stuff wanting to record it and get it done, as opposed to like sitting through and going through every single little nuance of everything and like checking every little thing to make sure that it was like perfectly exactly the way that that doesn't sound right. Like what I'm saying is I had a system that was working, and so I just used it. So it's like, it was working for like live, if I wanted to talk or record live, and I just turned it on and then I used it. That's the way I mean to say it. Is like there was nothing to really check or change or do because it was fine. And so I just used it. So this is kind of like a live setup where I would use these two plugins for a live situation to control any anomalies. But in a recording situation, you don't really need it. But it was working fine, so I used it. Then of course we compressed the hell out of it, 34 dB gain. What's up? Let's go. And then we EQ'd it, and this is just a horrendous EQ. I don't even know what's going on here, but obviously this is what needed to happen because that's what happened. And then we DS it. Oh, I don't have look ahead on. See, it's little things like that. It's like I should have turned look ahead on because it's a recording, but I guess maybe this was like a live Vox situation. And again, remember, this was the second song I recorded in the album. I'm sure I probably turned on look ahead. Look ahead makes your de-essing a little smoother because it can look ahead for the next essing sound and then be ready for it. But see, in a live situation, you don't want to have that on because it adds latency and it's weird and it doesn't even work in a live situation because it can't look ahead to something that hasn't happened yet. You know what I mean? So it has to like delay the audio so it can look ahead to the audio that just happened in real time in reality. It has to do with like Einsteinian quantum physics calculations and stuff like that. It's not a big deal. You don't need to worry about it though. So anyway, Higgs boson field. Higgs is a subscriber. So let's see here. What else are we talking about? Oh yeah, that's it. That's crazy. That's it for that vocal track.
It's so hard to talk to you, even knowing you were right.
Cool. And then the chorus hits, and it's you can see it looks very similar to the intro, to the other stuff where it's just, you know, one bass, the rhythm guitars, the layered guitar halfway through the chorus. And then what do we got? We got the vocal. Then we have a couple backing vocals.
I'm playing a new game, same as the old way. Hide in the light, shine in the light.
Yeah, that's it. And then we have another one.
Showing the sideline, shine in the light, hide in the light, hide in the light.
So that, yeah, that's that. And then, yeah, I mean, the backing vocals, I mean, I don't know. They never get attention. So I don't even know why we're giving them attention now. They don't deserve it. No, just kidding. Poor backing vocals. So yeah, one's hard pan left, one's hard pan right. I do a lot of hard panning vocals. Unless there's a lot of layers on the vocals, then I'll change the pannings. Like some of them are like half right and then some are half left or 3/4, whatever. But mostly, typically, I'll just do hard panning on vocals. And yeah, and we got, okay, so the vocal, it's the same thing as the vocal mic, pretty much. Yeah, the EQ looks a little different, but same thing, de-essing. Oh yes, this is RVox. This is a limiter for vocals. I use it sometimes on my main vocal, sometimes on my backings, but it's waves. And a lot of the wave stuff adds, it's funny because when I used to work with it in Pro Tools, because of the way, oh dude, this has been so long now. There's like different kinds of plugins for Pro Tools. There's like the special pay extra, and then there's like the not special, no, I'm just joking. That's not what it was. It was like hardware plugins or something. I know that these days they're like called like AAX plugins or something like that. But I don't think they use VST. And so like Reaper uses VST, most everything else uses VST. And depending on how the VST was built, the latency, if it's like VST 2 or 3, or if it was built for VST as opposed to for AAX first, like there's a lot of like minutia and all that, but basically latency is different. On Pro Tools back in the day, the latency for the Waves plugins, because it wasn't AAX back then, like it was different. There was something else. I forget what it was called, but it was the hardware version of it, and that was basically zero latency. It was really great because the Wave stuff that you used was zero latency. It was great. On the VST stuff, and with this plugin specifically, it does add a little bit of latency. So I don't like to use it live. But on a recording, if it sounds right and it does the job, then it's no big deal because latency doesn't matter. But so you probably won't see this too much on any of my live tracks, but I use it on this backing track for this, and some of my main vocals have it on there. Let's talk about the chorus or the bridge real quick.
I won't pretend to know what's right. I won't pretend to know.
I love the tuning. Yeah, and that's why I muted it right there, because I didn't want it to go into that last chorus. Anyway, so yeah, on the bridge, the drums, of course, we've got the drums up here like normal. And then no bass. It looks like halfway through, oh, it's that ding, 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 ding. Yeah.
I will trust in you.
Yeah, that's halfway through. Like I say, it's like the technique halfway through, add some layering or whatever. You got just the main guitar going through the whole time, and here's the main vocal. Oh, are we boosted on all this stuff? Yeah, let me bring it all down so you don't see the. See, let's go halfway between that. Halfway. This is just a view. It doesn't change the gain or anything. Yeah, so we got the main vocal. We got two backings here. Am I true about my panning? Yep, hard left. Hard left. Yep, hard right. Right, yeah, so for these pans.
Pretend to know what's right. I won't pretend to know what's right. I will trust in you. I will trust in you. I won't pretend to know what's right. I won't pretend to know
This record is so raw, dude. I love it. I love it. Just let go and let's go. Let go and let's go. Okay. That's basically, I mean, it's the same vocals. I probably just duplicated them, hard panned them, recorded it. Let's go. No pitching on this record if that wasn't obvious already. Because let's go. Let's go. And then final chorus.
Shine in the lights, hide in the light. Shine in the lights, hide in the light.
Real quick, I'm not going to talk. I'm gonna introduce some more latency so that we can do processing, and then I want you to hear soothe. I'm going to play with the soothe knob so you can really hear what soothe does. It's super cool. It's soother cool. Play it from that. Oh, I have to stop playback on this, Sam. Okay. Now let's see. 512 latency. Okay, that's not too bad. I can still hear myself, so that's good. But if I turn soothe on, let's see. Okay, that's working. Okay, cool, it works. So I'm gonna just bring soothe all the way down here so you can really hear it. I'm gonna bring this one down to here. And so check this out. Let's see what this sounds like. Let's turn the sharpness and selectivity all the way up too. And now you'll really hear what's going on. So it's like taking everything out of there now. Let's loop. It's definitely not harsh. But so then you want to back it off. Yeah, you can see this is everything it's cutting out here. Oh, here, let me get back. So yeah, it just adds a little bit of soothing. It takes a little bit of that harshness out, where it's like you could go in there and try to precision EQ stuff if you wanted to. It's like you listen to everything individually, you're like, I'm happy with that. You put it all together, you do a mix, you're like, I'm happy with that. And you feel like, okay, you do some references with other stuff, and you're like, okay, it's fine. And then you turn this on, you start turning up, you're like, oh, that actually does, yeah, it's taken out a little bit of the, there's still a little bit of like resonating harshness. It just kind of just takes a little bit down, just makes it a little clear just a little bit. Anyway, real quickly, let's disable that, and then I'm going to bring my latency back down. To 64, there we go. And okay, and this is the song. Let's bring this out. Okay, so this is the song in the recording, in the record. And then this is the live version of it. So what I have here is how I play it on a regular show. And here we have the backing track. I just go through and basically mute everything that I'm going to be doing live, and then I render out a backing track. So that's the backing track here. So I'm playing the solo right there, and then during the verse, I think it's just drums because I'm playing the guitar and the vocal. Super funny. And so then what I do is I basically save everything I'm going to do live from the original track, and I bring it in. So this is that guitar part, guitars, and then these are the vocals that I'm going to be doing live. And then I basically run them through the same track because my guitar is on track 2, my vocals on track 1 or 3 or whatever it is, but the vocals on the same track. And I was using different tracks in the record, different effects, different stuff. And so I want to keep all those things, like the verse effect may be different than the chorus effect. And I want all that stuff to stay live, obviously, but I want it to be automated. And I only have one line coming in from the microphone. So what you do, it's pretty straightforward, super easy, is you just mute the tracks that aren't being used at that moment. So when I start the song on the verse here, I'm only using this track for the verse, so I mute this one. I mute this track. Means it's muted. And this track means it's muted here. So these two are muted while I'm singing this, even though the input's coming in here. And then when I'm done with this part, it goes to the second part where the effects change, or the level changes, or whatever changes. Something changes in this part. So then I just mute this one that I was just singing on, and then I unmute this one. And so then I do this part. And the same thing with the choruses. I mute everything else except the chorus and play it. And this just means unmuted, unmuted, and then it's muted right here during this verse right here, which is unmuted now. Same thing with the guitars. So I'm playing this verse solo here, but then, or the intro solo, and then the verse guitar part is this, which is a totally different tone. So I just unmute the guitar here and mute the guitar here. That was this one. This is all one track because this is volume level. The green thing is the volume level. And that's with all the guitars. So you can just see when it's up, it's unmuted. When it's down, it's muted. So you can see unmute, 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 and then muted everywhere else. And that's that. Then, so that's for the audio. This right here, this track, this is the lyric video. So this is feeding to a video window. Reaper has a video window, so you can have a video track in any track in Reaper, turns into a video track. And then it feeds to a video window, and that window I have feeding to the monitors on the stage so you can see the lyrics. I also have that feed split out, and it's feeding to the video PC for the lyric overlay. And you can use channel points on Twitch to brighten the lyrics or dim the lyrics. And that's all stemming from this track, and that way it's synced with the audio. I don't know what that sound was. And then it was probably the guitar somehow. What is that? That's weird. Anyway, hopefully that doesn't continue. And so, what is that, dude? Stop it. What's happening? I don't know. That was weird. Strange. Very strange. Hopefully that's over. Oh wait, we're in the wrong session. Okay. And then, wait, that's not still playing, is it? No. And okay, so that's the video track. And then this is the title GIF. So this part plays, this is a MIDI note that triggers a source in OBS on the video PC to do the overlay GIF for the song title. And then this is the actual song title itself. So for this specific song, Hide in the Light, this triggers that source to become visible. So the GIF triggers, the thing comes over the screen, and then this turns that on, and then the GIF goes away, and that song is just on. And then this is the camera track. So all these MIDI notes correspond to either a camera that it switches to or a camera preset on the moving camera presets. Because I have two pan tilt zoom cameras that have 9 presets each. So for like a close-up mic preset or a guitar solo preset. And so that this track is choosing cameras and choosing presets. And then this one, I don't know why that's record enabled. And then this one is the lights. So these MIDI notes correspond to lighting cues on the lighting PC, which is here. Oh yeah, look at that. So all of these cues here they have a MIDI trigger. And then show Reaper. Show Reaper. I don't think I have Reaper set up for a button. I maybe do. No, it doesn't, because it's a multi-step process and I don't have that. Oh, I do have it set up there though, right? Oh, I should do a vocal cue for show lighting. I don't think I have that yet. Anyway, all those MIDI notes are for the lighting PC. And then I also have one for fog, but that's basically the lighting PC as well, because the fog is controlled through the lighting PC. This one is for the Mover Cam. So this MIDI note right here triggers the Mover Cam program. So it triggers the move of the Mover Cam, and then this other track above it chooses that camera during its move. And then basically this is just a trigger though. So like this MIDI note triggers the Mover Camera PC to do the camera movement. And then it runs through a whole program and process on its side, but this just gets it started basically. And then the applause system is at the beginning of the song, this turns the channel point on Twitch off. And how it does that is this MIDI note goes over Bohm Network, which is a MIDI network from Bohm software. And it connects to the streaming PC. And then the MIDI note goes into StreamerBot, and StreamerBot has a MIDI in listening for this. And when this comes in to StreamerBot, it triggers the channel point to turn off. And so you can't applause during the song. And then at the end of the song, it has a MIDI note that StreamerBot gets, and then StreamerBot knows if it hears that MIDI note, it turns the applause channel point on. And so at the end of every song, that's how that automatically turns on and off respectively. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Having MIDI integration for channel point stuff is amazing. It's definitely a game changer. It's been fun to do that. A lot of fun. There's a lot of things that we've been able to do because of that. It's really neat. StreamerBot rocks. That's this one, Hide in the Light, song number 2 from the new record Fear. Well, thanks for watching. Any questions, comments, whatever, let me know. And I'll talk about that in the next one. But yeah, I'm surprised at how long this video was, considering this is probably the most simple, straightforward song on the record. Interesting. Well, thanks for watching. See you at the next stream or see you on the next video. Bye.